Introduced back in 2013, finally really on its second generation. Today we're going to be comparing the 2014 Infiniti QX60 against the all-new 2022 Infiniti QX60. The autograph, both front-wheel drive. When you're comparing it against the rivals, Acura, Lincoln, BMW, Audi, which would be better? To keep what you have, to get the all-new design, or to go with the rivals? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm going to go over all the specs and details, starting now. The Infiniti QX60 for 2014 had more of a simple look. Most would say that it looked kind of like a turtle, the way the hood was sculpted, and the headlight assembly was designed for an eye-catching, inspiring front fascia. The grille, all new design. You're going to get the gloss black. You're going to get the Infiniti underneath the Infiniti badging. Non-functional side curtains. You'll get the chrome that's going to just be a touch on the lower bumper, and you'll have an increased ground clearance from 6.6 to 6.9 inches. The side fenders are going to be more plain on the 14 model. The 2022, you're going to get matte gray that's going to encase 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels, whereas on the 14, we have aftermarket 22-inch multi-spoke wheels. Both of the disc reading will be the same, and you'll get dual pistons in the front. It's a floating caliper. Disc reading at 12.6 inches. The rear is a single piston with the disc reading at 12.1 inch. And on the lower trim, no more with the matte black, with the trim that's known to kind of come apart, unfortunately. Now they got a more aggressive style. You get the Infiniti badging with the chrome on the top because we have the autograph. You're getting the gloss black. The roof rails are raised with an increase in payload at 165 pounds on top, whereas you can only put 120 pounds on the 14 model. Lower roof spoiler, more aggressive on the 2022, whereas the 14 is going to be more plain and simple. The length of both of the vehicles are at the same, 198.2 inches, wheelbase 114.2 inches. The side profile is a little bit more of a difference though. If you option what I have done on my personal one, where we have the calipers in the yellow, the bigger wheels, I think this looks pretty aggressive and it doesn't look like a 14 model. However, you're looking at it from the 2022 perspective because of the side skirt and the gloss black. I like how more sporty it is because this, you don't have to spec out. If you were to put 22s on these, it will look a little bit more athletic. Strut front suspension, a multi-link rear suspension, electronic brake force distribution, vehicle dynamic control and traction control system. You receive the quad exhaust in chrome, but the exhaust is tucked underneath. Both will have a spare tire tucked underneath here. Towing has increased. This is 5,000 pounds. However, for front-wheel drive, it's decreased to 3,500 pounds, 6,000 pounds max with all-wheel drive. Both will have a power to go inside to your cargo. You will be losing cargo space in the 2022. Cargo starts at 14.5 cubic feet. You have storage underneath the floor, just like you do in the 14 model. However, you're losing 6 cubic feet of space. Both will have a 12-volt and power fold up for your third row. Split fold that to a 60-40 split. That's going to increase your cargo to 41.6 cubic feet. That's for the 2022, whereas on the 2014, it's 46.7 cubic feet. Split fold the captain seats for the second row, increasing your cargo to 75.4 cubic feet. When you split fold the rear bench on the 14 model, that increases you to nearly 80 cubic feet. Both of them have the same V6. The only difference is they've increased the power. Let's go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Now that you've heard what's underneath the hood, the 2014 is back with a 3.5 liter V6 producing 265 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque that's paired to a CVT transmission, achieving 20 to 26 mpgs. That's good for a 0 to 60 around 8 to nearly 9 seconds, which is a lot slower than the 2022. Also, the performance numbers: 295 horsepower with 270 pound-feet of torque, 9-speed automatic transmission, nearly 150,000 miles, basically 0 miles. I mean, it's a tough comparison, but really what you need to think about whenever you go to purchase your vehicle, or if you're trying to keep it, is, was the maintenance taken care of for the CVT? Did you do it every 30,000 miles? Because for the 9-speed, you don't have to do it as much. Let me know in the comments what you think about the comparison of the Infiniti's QX60s. As we go into the interior and compare it, the tech, and take it for our test. Entering inside the all-new 2022 Infiniti QX60 with headroom starting at 40.8 inches, legroom at 42.1 inches. Graphite interior. You're gonna get the piping and the contrast stitch, quilted, 12-way power adjustment, heated, ventilated, and massage, which was the big update from the 14 model. And the quilted goes onto the dashboard. It's a 2-tier, so it is very luxurious. Heads-up display is a 10.8 inch. Another new additive is the 12.3 infotainment. This is Infiniti InTouch. We got the pinch, we got the swipe. You can click here so you can have 2 screens. Click into your menu so you can see all the options we have: wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, HD radio. Put it into reverse. You have a 360-degree reverse camera with full trajectory. Makes it very simple and easy. Also with that digital rear view mirror, and you got the front and rear parking sensors. The new touch sensitive AC controls, the new gear lever, wireless charging pad, driving mode, auto start stop, and you have a rotary knob right here to make it easy for you. Cup holders, a 16.9 ounce fits without any issue. I'd say a 20 ounce would be the max. Open up inside, and you're going to have some areas for some business cards, a USB port, and a 12 volt, and you have an area that you can put a pin and some more cards for your driver's license. It's going to be pretty sporty / luxury, and you get the driftwoods with the gloss black, with the air vents that are very seamless. It almost looks driver focused with this L shape here because it's actually pivoted just a little bit more towards the driver's side. I do like how they do pay attention to detail because the wood trim goes into the dashboard. The gloss black around that digital gauge cluster can go through an array of information. So you can also change out the whole layout, or you can leave it as a standard, and you can also toggle through on the center for your navigation and all of your driver settings. 3-spoke leather wrap steering wheel, multi-function, and you get the paddle shifters. And to add more storage, we have a pass-through right here. For the door panel, you're gonna get soft materials over the top, open wood pores, memory for both the driver and passenger. 1 touch up and down for all your windows, soft where you rest your elbows. Premium Bose sound system inside, and the storage pocket is large. And we have a pano moonroof that goes to the second row. Entering inside, the 2014 Infiniti QX60 with headroom starting at 40.7 inches, which is 0.1 inch less than the new gen. Leg space at 42.3 inches, which is 0.1 inch more than the new gen. Leather bucket front seats, 10-way power adjustment with the Java, and you get the Infiniti badging. They're heated and ventilated front seats, memory for the driver. Dashboard layout is going to be more plain and simple. Infotainment screen, we don't have a pinch. We do have a swipe, kind of, sorta. We do not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. We do have Sirius XM, HD radio, FM, and AM. Switch it to reverse. We have full trajectory, a 360-degree reverse camera, and you have front and rear parking sensors with your backup intervision collision. So safety is taken care of. Leather wrap 4-spoke multi-function steering wheel. The gauge cluster is analog for the tach and odometer. The center is a digital reader that can go through an array of information for the driver. You will have a CD player here, a storage compartment with the 12 volt. Cup holders, a 16.9 ounce fits without any issues, and you have some button functionalities for your sport, eco, snow, or normal. Door panel gets harder materials pretty much everywhere. It's a plastic instead of actual real wood. You got your blind spot monitoring inside, one touch up and down for all your windows, no dual pane like it is in the new gen. It's going to be kind of soft for your elbows, and it's more harder materials with a pretty decent storage pocket. We also have a moonroof in the front, whereas it's just a single pano in the new gen. Let's see how I look in the second row. For the second row, I'm at 38.3 inches of headroom, which is almost an inch more than the new gen. 41.7 inches of legroom, which is 4 inches more than the new gen. Elbows are going to be pretty sporty / soft. You're going to have your third climate control back here, heated rear seats, 12 volt, home plug, air vents in the center. We have the entertainment, 2 storage compartments behind both of the front seats, and the floor is pretty much flat. You can also move these seats forward, which you can go pretty far, and you can move it backwards. Same thing as you could in the new gen. And you can recline this pretty much the same. One thing that I will say is you sit a little bit more higher in the new gen, whereas on this one you sit a little bit lower. The door panels are both lower though, so it's going to be more luxury than performance. You're not going to get the sunshade. It's going to be all firm materials, plastic. It's going to be pretty soft here. You still get the one touch up and down, and the storage pocket is about the same as the 2022. But the nice thing about this gen is we have a center seat. Let's see how I look in it. Sitting into the center, headroom, still not an issue, nor is a leg room. Obviously, I'm blocking the central activities for your air vents, your USB, but we have the TVs on the side. So the entertainment is still being able to be used, and we still have an efficient amount of room. I am going to be sharing feet, butt, shoulder space because it's not a wide bench. However, you still have more occupants in the old gen than the new, whereas on the 2022 headroom 37.5 inches, in the leg space 37.4 inches. So it's going to be a little bit tighter, but the good thing is they're captain seats. You can also recline them forward, and you can adjust them backwards. The recline position, that way you can't even fit in the third row. I would sit like this and probably put it about this area. You're going to have your third climate control, USB, 12 volt. We don't have an entertainment like we do in the 14 model, and they have 2 tiers of storage behind both of the front seats. As for the door panel, manual sunshades, which is definitely better than the prior generation. Air vents in the ceiling, open wood pour, one touch up and down, and it's going to be soft pretty much everywhere, and the storage is going to be a little bit smaller. Let's see how I look in the third row. For the third row, I'm at 35.7 inches of headroom, 28 inches of legroom. The disadvantage is the prior generation had more head and leg space. Because of the sporty styling on the exterior, it's taken away from some of that interior space. On the side, you're going to have 2 areas, 4 cup holders that can fit maybe a 32 ounce, and you have a USB-C port with your air vents now in the ceiling. You do have a little storage area here, but nothing to rest your elbows. So is it doable? Yeah, on a long journey, not going to be as comfortable. In the 2014, at 38.3 inches of headroom, 41.7 inches of legroom, which is an increase of over an inch of headroom and nearly 4 inches of legroom. You can fit 2 occupants back here, so this is a 7-seater, whereas the 2022 is a 6-seater. On the side, it's going to be harder materials, 2 cup holders that can fit a 20 ounce, and you got the air vents. The pano moonroof actually comes back further here because you have 2 different moonroofs. You have your sunroof and a pano. Taking the 2022 Infiniti QX60 out, full redesign, comparing this to the prior gen. Is it as quiet? This one's actually a little bit more quiet in the sound dampening. The ride, that has upgraded 22-inch wheels, they're aftermarket, so this is going to be a lot smoother. As for the way the setup is, you feel more aggressive in it. The front windscreen is more sleek. The hood proportions make me feel like I'm in a sportier SUV, whereas on the prior gen, this one has the CVT transmissions. The interior road noise is going to be a little bit louder. For visibility in the front, the windscreen is larger. The hood proportions in this one is going to be a little bit more settled and is not as athletic. Blind spots, really don't have hardly any on this particular one. We don't have a digital rear view mirror though, which would make it a little bit easier. We do have blind spot monitoring, and the light is right inside, so I do like that. It's comfortable for a long journey. Braking, it's about the same as the new gen. In the price point, If you were to buy that on new, which I did, it's about the same as this one. It wasn't much of an increase. The big difference though is the 9-speed automatic transmission. And what does that do? This. Whereas on the prior gen, the CVT does. Now you have less performance underneath the hood with this. Now the three things that I like about this vehicle opposed to the prior gen is the full refresh in the interior. It is so cleaned up that it goes against rivals like Audi and BMW. It's hard to say that with the prior gen. The second thing that I like about it is you get all of the latest technology, and you would have to get adapters to get the technology for the prior gen. The last thing that I like is you have a 9-speed automatic transmission. For me, it's not a big deal. However, for service it is, because you got to do service intervals at 30,000 miles with a CVT. Three things that I dislike about this gen is when you get the front wheel drive, which is what this is, you lose towing capacity opposed to the prior gen by 1,500 pounds. Turn radius at more or less a stop point. About 2 lanes, let's rock and roll. And you can see we would have been faster than the Kia Sportage had it not cut me off. The second thing that I dislike, that rear view digital camera, where it's positioned when you're at a stoplight, you're looking at somebody's roof of a car because of where it's positioned. But that's gonna happen. It's gonna be hard to find a happy medium. And the last thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the way they have changed the second row. Where you push the button, it kind of feels like Honda technology or Toyota, even Nissan. Obviously that's the product that it is. Just with the old gen, it was a little bit different because of the way the lever was, and it was unique because Infiniti was the one that designed it. Now it's pretty much the same as everybody else. Comparing this to the prior gen, so the three things that I like about this gen compared to the prior is you still get all of the safety features. Backup intervision collision, you get the blind spot monitoring, you have your adaptive cruise control where it goes to a complete stop and then it engages. You also have your lane keep assist. Now the lane keep assist in this is not as good as the new gen, obviously, because they've tweaked it and made it better. So that'll be the one thing that I dislike to start off with. The second thing that I like about the vehicle is this has more interior room, you have more storage cargo, and you can still tow up to 5,000 pounds, whereas on the new gen for the front wheel drive, only 3,500 pounds. This is front wheel drive, just to let you know. The last thing that I like about the vehicle is I bought it brand new, and really I haven't had a lot of problems at all. The only things that I've had to fix on this, the radiator fan. That thing goes bad like every 60,000 miles. So I've replaced it twice now. Service-wise, I do the pulleys every 50,000 miles, CVT transmission every 30,000 miles, oil change every 5,000 miles, and brakes, I've went through a few brakes, but I changed those myself, and I'm still on the original rotors. I have replaced the AC compressor, and that's pretty much it. Batteries, you go through some batteries with these vehicles, so that's some disadvantages. We'll just wrap it up as the second thing and wrap all those good things in the sense of I didn't really have to repair that much for 100 and near 50,000 miles. The last thing that I dislike, the infotainment screen was almost outdated when it came out in this vehicle, and it's sad to say it took that long to fix it because they really didn't do that great of a job until they finally did the full refresh. Now, are any of these things going to make me say, oh, I need to go buy a new vehicle? Well, one thing that I will say, this vehicle has been one of the best vehicles I've personally ever owned. Not to be biased, it's just if you maintain the vehicle, it should last a long time. It's obviously not worth nowhere near what the new vehicle is worth. So if I was to trade it, I wouldn't get what the value is out of this. And I feel like I have at least 150,000 miles left before I would have to do any major services. And even with that, I don't think I'll have any major problems because I actually service the vehicle. I like the new vehicle. They did great job with all the tech and all the interior. It's hard to let go of something that's treated you well. I'd like to thank Infiniti of Clearwater for giving us this 2022 Infiniti QX60 for our comparison against the prior gen. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, what are you waiting for? Click the next video, the subscribe button, check out the details, merchandise website, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.